Table of Contempt. Woe is the stranger in Rings of Power? The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power first hit screens back in September. The first installment brought in a benevolent figure known only as the Stranger, played by Daniel Wayman, who came out of a meteor in the sky and was left exhausted after his mysterious journey. The Stranger spent much of his time passing in and out of consciousness with Harfoot Snorri, Marcella Kavanagh, and Poppy, Megan Richards, looking after him. They also hid him from the Harfoot camp and even brought him food. He has since become friends with the hobbits and helped them travel with their fellow Harfoots. Since then, he has become firm friends with the Harfoots and assisting them in their migration across Middle-earth. Warning: this article contains spoilers from The Rings of Power. Who is the Stranger in Rings of Power? The Stranger seemed to speak a foreign tongue and tried to give a clue about where he had come from after he used his powers to align fireflies into the shape of a constellation. However, before the Harfoots could discern the meaning behind the fireflies, they were all destroyed. There have been several theories about who the Stranger could be, with many taking to Reddit to hypothesize, with some believing it was the Dark Lord Sauron while others thought it could be Gandalf or one of the other blue wizards. User Emilia11 thought the Stranger was Sauron, saying, "The Stranger is much more powerful and durable than the elves, having survived a fall from the sky." The Stranger also has an eerie amount of control over nature in the similar way as Gandalf and Saruman do. His appearance as an old, bearded man is consistent with the wizard's mayor we know in Peter Jackson's LOTR and The Hobbit. No elf we have ever seen is old and bearded and, as the hobbits say, wrong ears, and he's not handsome. Not to mention elves don't fall from the sky. The user goes on to say, the timing of the meteor falling and the Stranger/Sauron trying to pull a grand ruse on the elves also fits. Galadriel leaving. The show establishes in the first episode that she is the one person in Middle-earth who is actively trying to hunt him. Finally, they draw parallels between the One Ring and the meteor, which are both strangely cool to the touch even when they come into contact with fire. Adding, other evidence that he is Sauron, or at least a force of evil, is the moment where the hobbits enter the Crater of Fire and find it cool. In the first episode in the Ice Caves, we learn from Galadriel that extreme evil can be so strong that even fire cannot feel warm. I doubt they would have included this detail in this scene if the Stranger were a benevolent blue wizard or Gandalf. Fellow user Dermine Donnell Park wrote, "I also found the phrasing very interesting when Nori says, he could have landed anywhere, and he landed here. I know it sounds strange, but somehow I just know it's important. It's like there's a reason this happened. Like I was supposed to find him." They went on to reason, unfortunately this could work either way. If the Stranger is Sauron, it would draw a parallel between him and the Ring. If he is Gandalf, it would highlight how Gandalf was meant to meet the hobbits. In that case there would be a lot of deliberate misdirection going on, with the crater looking vaguely like an eye or the fireflies dying. However, Original 2 Ignition wasn't so sure and felt it could be a wizard. They wrote, "Your points combined with a Tolkien revision stating the blue wizards showed up around the time of the forging of the rings really has me convinced this is Alatar or Palando. All of the meant to stuff is Iluvatar working his magic. The parallels to Gandalf are so obvious. All the evil stuff is just the showrunners trying to throw us off. Another used called Vicnomite33333 said, "But I believe the stranger is a familiar wizard and Sauron is actually Galadriel's new companion, who just so happened to mention in the second episode that looks can be deceiving." Sick. They added about the stranger not being Sauron. If he was Gandalf, however, it would make a lot more sense in terms of storytelling. You would have a wizard among the Harfoots and progress their character development by welcoming him into their wandering society. For now, it seems the jury is out over who the stranger could be. The one big thing fans do know from J. R.R. Tolkien's hefty mythology is Sauron disguises himself as a benevolent figure known as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. So, many viewers are waiting to see Anatar cropping up in the show and looking unrecognizable as he pulls the wool over the elves' eyes in his plans for world domination. As Anatar, he taught the elven smiths to make the rings which were given to various leaders across Middle-earth. However, these 19 rings were all lesser than the one ring Sauron had created in the fires of Mount Doom and which he would use to control the wearers of all the other rings. Waymond told Deadline about playing the stranger, "It's been pretty easy actually," adding, "I felt that the way they wrote they gave me exactly what I needed in any given moment in that script." More recently, some fans have been wondering about why orcs can't go in the sunlight after they fought with a group of prisoner elves. Others want to know what each of the Rings of Power do and their properties.